Hi, everyone. This is Dr. J, and welcome to week seven. Yes, week seven of EDTC 614. We are now at the halfway mark, and I'm very glad that we are still together working towards our next major assignment, which is project number two. Now, project number two is going to take up the majority of the next 2 weeks, but in order to get ready for project two, we need to focus on the assignments that are going to be our cornerstone pieces for the week. So this week, you have the following things to do. First of all, make sure that you read Clark and Mayer's chapter 8 and 9. Make sure you watch my introductory video that you're watching right now as well. But I also want to highlight some of the other resources that I've posted in the week 7 folder. This includes, of course, the assignment for project two, which you'll be able to click on and see the details of it. And I'm going to do a separate video on project two, just to kind of walk through what I'm thinking, what I'm expecting, just to give you a little bit more context. The next thing I also have included is the assignment to, in this case, selecting your topics for project two checklist. I want you to go in there and tell me which of the key principles you are going to talk about in your podcast episode. Now, I'm asking you to register and select a topic because I would like for everyone to have a different topic. Now, to do this, because sometimes people tend to gravitate to one particular principle or the other, I'm going to ask you to put your first choice and then put your second choice. Put your second choice into the video, into the form. So you put your two options, and then I'll respond back, first come, first serve, with your selected topic. So again, make sure that you use, it's called selecting your topic for project two. Make sure you put your first selection and your optional section. If for whatever reason both are already taken, I'll reach out to you and let you know so that you can select your third option. Once everyone registers and a topic is permanently assigned to them, you'll be able to work on it and start working on it because, again, the project is due in 2 weeks on Sunday, October 27th at 11:59 p.m. So I'm going to give you enough time to work on it. So with that, in addition to that, I've also included the Maxwell book again, Podcasting with Youth, a quick guide for librarians and educators. I'm going to ask you to read chapter 3 this time. Now, chapter 3 is going to talk about the equipment and the tools and resources that you need to create a podcast. Let me just say this very quickly. They talk about SoundCloud and how you can pay this $10 a month fee. I do not want anybody, I don't want any of you paying for any sources or resources of any sort. Use what's free. The book talks about SoundCloud. You don't need to use SoundCloud. There's many other platforms, including YouTube, that you can use to create your podcast. You don't have to buy any special equipment. I'm just using my laptop to do these videos, and the video software that you have inherently in your laptop is more than sufficient. If you're going to do an audio podcast, there's like a voice memo tool on most computers that you can use to record your audio as well. So having said that, I've included a how to create a podcast on YouTube video. It's pretty high level, but it should give you enough of an idea if you want to choose podcast as your option. Sorry, if you want to choose YouTube as your option to create a podcast, you can use YouTube to do so. The platform for me is not so important as long as you're able to create it. So choose what's best for you. I am a firm believer in using free resources, including cheap resources, if not free, which is always for me. But you can use any resource you'd like. There's also an article on how to start a podcast I encourage you to review so you can get some ideas. I will be setting up a separate video that you'll see in this week's folder for chapter 7 on how you may want to approach your project too. Some of you may want to go down the path of doing an interview and interviewing somebody. Some of you, who can talk about the contiguity principle. Maybe someone's asking you questions and you're answering the questions about the contiguity principle or the modality principle and so forth. Or you may just want to have a simple podcast. It's just you and you're talking about the podcast, um, about, in this case, your chosen principle. So you have some options here, is what I want to say. But look at all these resources, use them, get familiar with them, and determine which tool or platforms will work best for you. Now, the other thing I would be remiss not to include here in this video is, of course, your week 7 discussion. And to keep it simple, I'm only giving you one discussion board item this week, and that is to summarize your learnings from chapters 8 and chapter 9, specifically the redundancy principle as well as the coherence principle. List your top 2 learnings for each chapter and share them. And share how you would apply these principles in an upcoming assignment in your classroom. Again, as always, respond to at least 2 students in the classroom, and you'll have completed your requirement for the discussion board for this week. So, quite a bit to do this week in terms of reading and preparing for podcast 2. But again, I think you will all enjoy this assignment. Most students usually do, including myself. I'm a firm believer in the use of podcasts for learning. I don't care how old you are, you can always learn from a podcast. And that's something that I firmly believe, and there's a lot of research to support that as well. But for now, if you have any questions, reach out to me, email me, and we will go from there, everyone. Have a great week. And more importantly, yeah, I'll see you online. Take care.